What's happening, guys? Martin is back again. You know where we are, so let's get into it. So, guys, interesting topic. Seen a few YouTubers doing a review on this one, or particularly on this point, and I thought it's something that I would mention as well. And this is in regards to fragrance addiction, spending your money and your time just focusing on fragrances, trying to get the ideal fragrance in your mind is going to be that one that will epitomize the essence of you and the essence of what a fragrance is. Yes, so fragrance addiction is understandable. I can understand where it comes from. And I think, again, it can be everybody has a vice, and some people's vices may be collecting sports cards, some people may be more collecting cards or some form of sharing cards, maybe playing a particular type of game. Obviously, there's the physical stuff as well in respect of drug usage, alcohol, things of that nature. It can range over all genres of we as humans what we interact with. And interestingly, obviously fragrances is something which isn't necessarily offensive in a way to anybody else, but obviously there's a cost involved. And I think as well, you got to be cautious if you're finding that you're putting yourself in a scenario that you're going into debt. Definitely, I think there's some mentions of that throughout the videos. Going into debt to buy fragrances, putting yourself in a position where you're always chasing the next one, the next thing. For me personally, I think I have probably now, bottle-wise, well over probably about over 100 bottles, I'm sure, if not close. And again, I think partly the reason, as I say, when I started this channel, I was focusing just on Zara fragrances. But prior to that, and I think I'm going to also mention about social media as well. When I was, going out and doing my thing and growing up and everything else like that, you didn't really have loads of people having loads of different fragrances. You used to have a group or a group of friends, and it might be somebody had, say, for instance, this is back in the day. So someone maybe had, say, CK1 or something like that, or somebody had 1 million when it just came out. And that was the fragrance that was in the groups. Like, everybody had that fragrance. It wasn't a case of, you'd be looking to say, well, I've got this one because I want to stand out more and everything else like that. And I think as well, you used to be able to wear a fragrance. It used to be a lot more recognizable. You'd go out, and because there weren't, fragrances have always been there to some extent, but in respect of recent times, for me and my experience, obviously everyone's different, but from my experience, you'd have this one fragrance and that would be enough, because I think we're in a situation now when it comes to this social media age and everything else that we're always trying to be better than the next man, more so than before. We're oversensitized with information. We have constantly things coming in at us from different aspects in respect of advertising, marketing. Everything's there on your Instagram, your Facebook, Twitter, you name it. It's all bombarding you with information that you always now feel like you're not good enough. Whereas in the past, or maybe our parents' generation, they, for instance, wouldn't be wearing 5 or 6 fragrances. They might have maybe 2 fragrances in the whole life to some extent. Some people literally just one fragrance and that was enough for them. They didn't feel the need to keep getting other fragrances because other aspects of their life were fulfilled. And I think that's also partly what it could be. If there's elements of your life that aren't fulfilled, maybe you're trying to compensate that but for feeling that you need to get a new fragrance. Now that's only one area of it. That doesn't necessarily have to be all. Equally for myself, I enjoy that smell of a new fragrance in a way that's like a rush. That's maybe form of the endorphins that we get when we feel we've accomplished something or something new that comes to us. And for me, again, when the cost of the fragrances were relatively low, I didn't mind going to spend it because I wasn't putting myself in any form of financial hardship to do so. But once the cost of fragrances starts getting slightly more niche, so if I start paying money for, say, Amouage Reflection Man, and I'm paying, say, £170 in the UK, and that's reduced, and if I buy, this is 100 mil, and then if I buy a full retail price, I'm paying nearly plus £200. Can I really afford to do that? It's not. I don't think you're really gaining anything by, guys, if you're spending excessive amounts of money on fragrances thinking that it's going to change anything. You have to bear in mind as well, what are you buying fragrances for? So if you do have an addiction and you notice you have an addiction, I would actually ask the question, who are you trying to impress? What are you trying to achieve with it? If you're buying fragrances for somebody else, and you're buying fragrances because you want to impress somebody else, or you want to get a reaction from somebody else, maybe something's lacking in yourself as well. So don't take it as an offense, but by all means, you may have to step back and say, if I'm putting myself in financial hardship to buy a fragrance, which, to be honest, no one really gives a fuck about, nobody really cares, why am I doing that? What's happening? What's happening with me that I need to change? And I think we can use fragrances maybe as a blanket, as I say, for things that we could be lacking in life in respect of certain areas. Maybe you lack confidence, maybe you lack some form of, I don't know, some interpersonal skill, something personally about yourself. Maybe you want to attract more ladies or more guys. This is not just men, it's going to be for ladies as well. Is it something that you need to look at and maybe say to yourself, is it really appropriate I buy this particular fragrance? For me personally, I want to buy Baccarat Rouge, the actual original, and that's like £200 in the UK. As I say, I've done a review of this one, which is Casino Royale from Duo Fragrances, and this actually gave me a rash on my skin. I really enjoy the fragrance. I think it's very nice, but I think it's actually something which we need to sort of, how could I say, I want to get the original version. I want to get to pay for that premium. But that doesn't mean I'm going to put myself in debt and put myself in a scenario that I can't necessarily pay my light bill because I'm buying a fragrance. It doesn't serve any purpose. It doesn't achieve anything. It's not going to, no one's going to care. No one's going to say to me, oh, Martin, don't worry, I'm going to help you out. And I think as well, in the sort of age that we're in, guys, the consumer age we're in, is constantly spending. And you do have to be somewhat sensible now in the way we spend our money. And I understand as well, when we talk about Zara fragrances, we're trying to get basically the best we can for the money we pay. Excuse me, the best we can for the money we pay. But at the same time, I can see also a constant over scrutinization of this I need to get the value for money element as well. So no one's willing to spend £10. They want to get it for £7. And for that £7, they must get the best type of fragrance. It must have longevity. It must have projection. It must have ladies' compliments. The sillage needs to be there. The ratio between the oils in it needs to balance up a certain way. I think at some point it gets over critical. And I think as people, we're expecting too much now. We're in an over consumer type of society, from what I understand, from what I pick up on it. We're overstimulated in respect of information, and we're expecting way too much. I think we really need to sort of, if we can, take your time to buy fragrances. And what's useful as well, and again, it's been touched on over YouTubers' thoughts on it as well. But again, when I'm talking about PayPal, I'm not saying, guys, that I'm personally pocketing the money. If you make a donation to me for £1 or for $5 or whatever it may be, or €5, you got to believe as well, guys, that I have my own life, I have my own job going on as well. And I really enjoy building up this YouTube channel from my perspective. And that's all I'm doing. I'm trying to share my knowledge with you and my perspective from where I come from in this life that we're all living right now. And all I'm doing with that money is literally using it to purchase other fragrances. It's not really down to me gaining any personal sort of, I can say, advantage as such from requesting that, because it's not really that much. And I personally could obviously just keep buying fragrances, but why am I going to put myself in debt? At the same time, there are fragrances which I enjoy and I want to practice to do a review of, and I'll do so. So hopefully, again, as the channel starts to build up, and hopefully as the channel starts to increase with viewers and subscribers and everything else, then obviously the ad revenue I can use towards that, because this is a hobby for me, guys, and I really enjoy understanding more about fragrances. I'm starting, as I say, I've mentioned that I'm starting to look into it a bit more of the science of it now. I'm actually going to undertake some bit more in-depth research into fragrances, fragrance composition, things of that nature, because you got to bear in mind as well with fragrances, the question will always be as well, at the end of the day, what sells this fragrance and what sells this fragrance? Two completely different houses, two completely different fragrances. Obviously, one slightly more established in the game compared to another one. This one obviously come through via a different platform, but what is the actual difference? A lot of the fragrances are often made, it's like, how could I say? It's like, say for instance, sunglasses. I could have Tom Ford sunglasses and you have, say, Ray-Ban sunglasses. But a lot of these sunglasses, could say for instance, both say made in Italy. A lot of them are made in the same factories. It's just that one goes down a certain line at a certain point of the construction chain, goes down a certain point. That goes that way for branding this way, and that goes that way for branding this way. But a lot of them are made in the same factories. A lot of them are made by the same producers. But we just, as people, obviously, we're the end consumer. We're getting it due to marketing and everything else like that, and obviously branding and everything else. But ultimately, a lot of it's made by the same companies. And what's interesting is what it'll come down to with these fragrances is, as I say again, example, marketing and your perception of the brand. What makes you want to spend £160 for this one, but not spend £170 for this? For instance, what's the difference? It's what your perception is of it. And at the end of the day, guys, a lot of money will go onto marketing and everything else like that, because at the end of the day, as far as we're fully aware, people will spend what they perceive to be valuable. And if you don't see any value in the fragrance, you don't see any value in what it is that you're purchasing. And it goes for all things. I'm wearing a Ralph Lauren hoodie. Meh. Excuse me. Sculpa. I'm wearing a Ralph Lauren hoodie. Okay, I perceive some form of value in Ralph Lauren hoodies, but that doesn't mean that I can't buy a hoodie without this on. That's gonna be somehow inferior. And I think the thing as well, guys, you'll get people who have a lot of money, they make a lot of money, they're doing their thing, and they don't have a ton of fragrances. They're securing themselves, they have the family, they have other things going on, some stuff more important. They maybe have 2 or 3 fragrances. And I actually like to see that. I like to see people, or when I go to friends and see their apartments and stuff, and they have literally just 1 to 2 fragrances, and that's it. And that's that side taken care of. They know there's other fragrances coming out. They know people will maybe give them a fragrance maybe for Christmas, something like that. But they feel content in themselves. And I think, guys, without getting too wavy and philosophical about it, you need to find that inner peace. There are fragrances that I really enjoy, like for instance, Dolce & Gabbana The One, and the Eau de Parfum version. I've not had a bottle of that for nearly probably about 6 months. And I'll keep meaning to buy a bottle, but until I see the right deal, I'm prepared to hang fire and not buy it. I really enjoy the fragrance. I've got so many fragrances now, I can find a way to get through it. Each day, I can wear a new fragrance. Sometimes I wear even 2 fragrances in a day, sometimes. Or sometimes I wear a fragrance in the morning, get bored of it, and change the fragrance. So I think as it goes, guys, don't feel necessarily, if you do have this fragrance addiction and it is going on, be very cautious of it. You need to recognize it's going on as well. It's too easy to fall on that trap. And I think you should be very cautious if you're putting yourself in debt to buy a fragrance. Bearing in mind, what are we concerning ourselves about with a fragrance? Are we going to smell it just for ourselves, or are we having it smell so other people can smell it? Get into something else, guys. If you're really concerned about, because I say in the social media age now, a lot of people, it's just Facebook. They'll sit at home, they look on the PC, they look on the phone, Twitter, and they look on Tinder and Bumble and all these other things going on to try and meet somebody if that's what you're looking for. And it's a shame because you're not going out, we're not interacting with people, we're not got that social element in the same way, and it's having an impact, I think, on the fragrances as well. So then, therefore, you have to look at ladies' reactions. You have to say, is this a good fragrance or not? Rather than just having the opportunity to wear the fragrance yourself and go out and see how it goes. You could wear the same fragrance every single day for a year and get maybe 3 or 4 reactions. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going to meet somebody. It's just what that fragrance is. But I think what we're looking for as well, and I think this is part of the problem with social media age, unfortunately, we're looking for everything to be commoditized in such a way that this fragrance is, say, $9.99, $12.99, whatever it may be, and it contains everything, ladies' reactions, everything else like that. But again, you obviously were the person who's going to be wearing the fragrance. So it doesn't matter when I do a ladies' reaction video, guys. Somebody else does it. German Fragrance does it. Gin Sense does it. You name it. Brooklyn Fragrance Lover does it. Somebody does a review. The ladies are going to give their reaction based on a number of things. And again, there's a chemical reaction that's going on as well when they smell it necessarily on skin or they smell it on a card. It's different. It has an impact on it. So even if I say, I can see some comments about saying, put a fragrance on 4 feet away and have them smell it 4 feet away. That's not a natural. No one's going to say, I'm going to smell it 5 foot away and say I like that fragrance or not. Most people will bring their nose up to it and behave in that way. We can't commoditize everything. And people are going to be liking the fragrance, not necessarily even down to the fragrance. It could be just that you're just got a shit personality and nobody wants to talk to you and people don't like you as an individual. Or it could be the other way around, that people like you, they may not like the fragrance, and at some point they say to you, you know what, man, you need to change your fragrances. I don't really like that one. But nonetheless, that's how it goes. There are loads of women I've met along this this sort of journey with the fragrances that have actually got boyfriends and actually say to him, I do not like that fragrance. And then they'll watch one of my videos or watch somebody else's video to try and get a fragrance that they like for the guy to wear. Sometimes the guy still refuses to wear the fragrance because he doesn't like that fragrance, and it's not about the fragrance. So if you got this addiction, guys, try and recognize it. Don't suffer in silence. Don't put yourself in a scenario that you keep going into debt and you're getting all these fragrances. And I think you have to ask the question as well, who are you buying the fragrances for? What are you actually trying to achieve with this fragrance? For me, guys, I'm reviewing the fragrances, I enjoy the fragrances, I sell my fragrances on eBay. Once I've done that, I try and offset some of the costs that I put out. I'm not going to hold on to fragrances and say, oh, this has to be everything else like that. But equally, I'm not going to go and purchase fragrances which I have no form of incentive for. As I say, as the channel grows and I get the AdSense coming in now, you see there's more adverts on there. As it begins to grow, hopefully we'll see what happens, and as I say, I can offset some of the costs of that. But I definitely won't be putting myself in a scenario, guys, and going to a point that I'm literally spending more than I'm earning to buy fragrances to justify what I've found myself in a scenario as well, guys, where I've gone for maybe, you know, in 1 week spent like £200 on a fragrance, £300 on a fragrance, and I have to say to myself, what was all that for? And yes, people can smell it and say it's nice, but what comes from it? Somebody smells it and says it's nice, but nothing else comes from it. They just say, oh, right, nice fragrance, yeah, and that's it. Whereas back in the day, we're talking like when I'm probably like 21, 22, you had that signature scent. Everyone had the same sort of fragrance, but at the same time, you brought it off a certain weight, and that was enough. That was enough. Unfortunately, we're overstimulated and we've got too much going on, and I think we're expecting too much maybe now from these fragrances. Recognize it, guys. If you got it, it's a real thing. It's no different from us to say someone having a form of addiction to, I don't know, buying pens and pencils or something like that, or getting the buying watches. Everybody's got something, so that's not a problem. But you have to recognize it, guys, when you're putting yourself in a scenario that maybe it's costing you more to buy these fragrances than what you're actually earning, and putting yourself in debt. And I think it's because maybe something is missing on the inside that we maybe need to address. Maybe look at other hobbies, maybe look at other things, guys, and try and see from there. So I'm not trying to rant at anybody. I just want to highlight that point about this fragrance addiction is a real thing. I do think it's because of the way society is going now with social media as well, that we feel like everything needs to be, as I say, commoditized, and we feel like everything is, you know, we need to know exactly what things are, rather than just actually living life and having the experience from life to tell us what works and what doesn't work. You can look at these female reactions, male reactions, whatever you want to look at it, guys, but don't feel that you buying that fragrance won't necessarily work for you. I sometimes give videos and reviews on my perspective, and I keep trying to emphasize this is my perspective. You could get a fragrance and say, well, what, he's talking rubbish. That doesn't smell like anything what I would have thought. And you enjoy that fragrance. You go and wear that fragrance. You have fun with that fragrance, where I personally don't want to wear it. That's just me, guys. So I know the video's going on. It's probably one of the longest videos I've ever done. But I had to get that out there, guys, because I think it's an important issue. And I don't think it's something that should be overlooked. Again, if that is the case, you're not alone. I say I've had many girlfriends tell me, why do I have so many fragrances? And because I enjoy them, but at the same time, I have to be cautious, guys, when it starts costing me money as well. And I just wanted to share that message as well, guys. So I hope to see you soon in the next video. I thought I'd get it out there, and I'll see you soon on the next one. Do not forget to comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Please also put your comments down below. Do you might have a fragrance addiction? Do you think you have it? If so, how have you found a way to curb it? What are the positives that you can tell us as well, and share with the community for everyone looking at these videos now? Ciao.